Hello everyone, welcome to another NAUI Talk. Today we're going to have a discussion about some really exciting ways that you can keep and get people into your business. But before we start, I always like to say what's coming up in next sessions. Next session on December the 14th, we're going to be talking about outside the box. I'll allude to it today and a few times, and a lot of what we're doing ties into previous NAUI Talks. So make sure you go back and watch the other NAUI Talks on NAUI TV. Real simple, go to YouTube, go to NAUI TV, look at NAUI Talks. There's a whole bunch of recordings there. Enjoy. And be sure to share them with everybody, because at NAUI, we try to grow the industry, in particular our members. Without further ado, we're going to start today's session on how to get people to come into your business. That's a dilemma for a lot of people. Especially now with the pandemic and COVID going on for the last 18, 19 months, depending on where you are in the world, it'd be different times. But it's very significant for so many of us. But even prior to that, there was always a struggle how to get people to come into your business. So as always, I'm trying to approach this in a different way to hopefully get you to think of ideas that can help you to grow and succeed. After today's session, I'm hoping you'll have some ideas where you can start from, and I have the call to actions as usual, where you can say, hey, I'm going to do this today, this next week, and in once a month, I'm going to do this. And the idea is I'm trying to help everybody to build a marketing plan that can benefit them, uniquely tailored to what they need to succeed. To accomplish this, we're going to basically break it down into a few categories, as you see here. Choosing you, making you stand out. What's the draw? And now that you got them here, what are you going to do? So we're going to look at it in those categories. So as we do that, remember, I like to handle questions as we're going. I certainly will do them at the end. So if you have a question, depending on how your screen is set up, above or below, you'll see a little box with a Q&A. Type your questions, do the best I can to answer them through the session. I'll certainly get to them after the session. And if for any reason you need more explanation on them, you know how to get a hold of me, but just in case, it's bdoran@naui.org. Give me an email or call me at NAUI headquarters, extension 231, and I'll certainly help you guide through the process for success. How do we get people to choose you? We want people to come into your business, whether that be virtually or physically in person, depending on whether you're an independent instructor, whether you're a facility, a charter boat, you're a professional educator, your vision of what it means to get them to come to your business may vary. I'm in Canada, and if you're in the charter boat business in Canada, the boats are already dry docked for the winter. You're not running charters anymore. So you're not going to get them on your boat right now, but you're still going to get them into your business to pre-book sessions for next year. The more pre-bookings you have, the more successful next year would be. Same with an independent instructor. You may not want them to come into your house or your truck where you're running it out of. It may be virtually, or it may be at a particular function that you're running, a community center, meet and greet, or whatever. So understand, getting them to come into your business is going to be catered to you. I'm going to use the word to buy quite a bit here today. Don't want to hold punches back on this. The reality is we need people to come to us and buy. And if they don't spend their money, we will not be in business. To succeed in business, you must have paying customers. That's not new. But I'm going to use the word to buy. So right off the bat, looking back at previous NAUI Talks, we talked about having unique offerings. That ties into today quite nicely. Go back and watch it. And then watch this one again. It'll be on NAUI TV within a day or two anyways. So you can watch this again as well. So what is it I'm wanting this person to buy? That's the first thing. What is it? Make that decision. What is it I want them to buy? It could be a course. It could be equipment. It could be service. It could be a full charter boat for the day, a half day, or just a 1 or 2 person spot on your charter boat. Or it could be you're a professional educator and you want to get them into particular programs. You need to decide, what do you want them to buy? And make it obvious. No matter what field you're in, independent, PE, affiliate, buy is the right word here. When they come to do business with me, I want them to Buy what? And that discussion we can talk more and more about. We could talk an entire series on this particular one. But for today, we're going to narrow it down to a few things. Do I want them to buy a course? Do I want them to buy an experience? Or do I want them to buy an adventure? And lastly, do I want them to buy some equipment? Okay. I'm going to focus mostly on the first three because I think as NAUI professionals, we certainly need to teach. If we teach, they'll buy gear. If you don't teach them, they're not buying gear. So they do go hand in hand. So in this case today, I'm going to use examples of getting them out in the water with me. Based on what you've decided, and in this case, we're going to just pick an example of, I want them to come to my winter pools. Period. Okay, so that's a pretty narrow scope. If that's what I want them to buy, I have to say, well, who are my customers that want to buy this? Now, depending where you live, that will vary, but I'm in Barrie, Ontario, Canada. It's cold. Today we have snow, tomorrow will be warm. That's just where we live. It's an odd area for weather. So as we look at this, the average person's not going to be diving when there's snow on the ground than not on the ground. Some of us diehards are with our dry suits and everything else, but the average person, I'm looking for somebody who's always wanted to try scuba or does do scuba diving but prefers the warmer temperatures. I want people who want to come to the pool. Why do I want them to come to the pool? Refreshers, experiences, continuing education. Okay, narrow that down. You can't advertise for everything all the time. Pick one item. I want them to come to the pool for an experience. Fair enough. So based on that comment, who's going to be buying? Who are these customers? Who are the customers that I'm looking to get out? Okay. And you may say, okay, there's 2 dive stores and 5 clubs in my area, or 1 club in my area and 1 store in my area. Those are absolutely not your customers. Your customer is the person. Those are competitors. So let's look at them. Who is the customer? How do I identify that person? Well, if you're in Barrie, Ontario, Canada, and you've been in 19 plus months of lockdown on and off and restrictions here and on and off, you're looking for somebody, hey, we're open now. I want to get out of the house. I want to get away from the TV. I want to get some exercise, have some fun, do something really cool. So based on that, my customer is the person who's probably could be moms and dads for their teens or tweens, basically 12 up, right? Could be an adult, so the age group will vary. Could be a senior. But what they have in common is they're tired of sitting at home having those in-house online experiences. I want to get that person out to my pool, to any of my pools or all of my pools, so they can have a whole different kind of experience and be there in person and experience being underwater. Okay, so I've defined that person. And you see how I'm defining a unique opportunity here. You got to pick a path. You can't pick everything. I'm just going to advertise and hope I get customers. Not in this day and age. What you're looking for is try to zero in on what I want to sell, who I want to sell it to, and then who is my competitor. Is my competitor for this particular person the other dive store or the other dive clubs in my region? Yeah, absolutely. But they're not the big competitor. And I think sometimes we tend to be, if you look at horses and things like that, they put blinders on so they're not distracted to the side. Well, sometimes we do that to ourselves as well. We're in the dive industry. My competitors are divers. I can't see anything over there. Well, our competitor in this particular scenario is not other dive stores and other shops. They're having the same problem getting the same people out. So my competitor is the TV and the internet. Maybe some good books. I like, based on, I love to read. I'm hoping other people love to read. Books might be the competitor too. We need to get people engaged and out and signed up to get physical exercise. It's good for you physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, the whole thing. We know that as scuba divers. We've already bought into that. We know the benefit of being underwater. Our competitor is the TV and the internet. So, okay, I've narrowed this down. Again, today I'm having a very narrow scope conversation. I'm looking to get the person who's tired of being at home, or they're tired of their loved ones being at home. I want to sell them an experience of then getting out to our pools to do something. And my competitor is the digital world. I need to get people into the physical world because we don't really make a lot of money digitally in scuba. Yes, they can take a digital course, but after that, they got to get in the water. Okay. So based on those, what would be the most effective way to communicate this message to them? That's tough. Good luck. You're competing with the digital world. Wow. What's the effective way to, well, go to where they are. Go to the internet. Now, if you're in some markets, you may be lucky enough to be able to get into the TV markets. Good luck with that in my area. I don't know a dive shop in my area that can afford to advertise on TV. It's just way too expensive. There's way too much competition in those digital markets, and especially nowadays, TV is a global, if not national or international venue, and to advertise nationally or internationally is outside the scope of virtually all independent instructors, PEs, and facilities. So, bang for the buck, the most effective way to communicate would be social media. And perhaps even good old fashioned print some posters and stick them around town. You never know who's out at a grocery store or at a community center going, gosh, I got to get out and do something. I'm tired of being stuck at home. So they would be very effective ways to communicate to these customers. If they're on the internet anyways, find out where they're surfing on the internet, TikTok, Facebook, et cetera, et cetera. There's lots of them out there, okay? It's your market. You know your market. If you don't, you need to know your market and see what people are doing in your area. And a lot of these social media, you can actually advertise quite effectively within a mile radius. Now, some people say, well, I put up a special on, I'm just going to say Facebook because it's the first one that came to my mind and it's on my notes. But there's lots of social media. But I'm going to use Facebook as an example. Somebody might just go, wow, Bill, that was really cool. I like that. But they're 7,000 kilometers away from me in a different continent. Well, they're not going to come and fly all the way to Canada through all the current COVID craziness of flying and come to a pool with me. I'm pretty sure if they're going to fly anywhere this time of year, it's not to Canada. No, definitely not. So they'd probably be going somewhere else. So just because you advertise on Facebook or any other social media doesn't mean you're getting the right crowd. Geofence it. If you want the less fancy words for it, that's basically tie it down to a geographic reason. You can say within 25 kilometers of where you are, or miles if you're in a few of the countries that use miles out there. Most countries it's kilometers. So figure how many kilometers or miles that your average customer, you know your customer, you know your area. Now, Barrie, I'm not likely going to attract people from Toronto to come to my pools, but I would from York to Barrie, and I would be from perhaps Bracebridge down to Barrie. We have a huge lake to the one side of us. That's called Lake Simcoe. That's where we dive. And we have another big body of water to the right. So I would define it between those two bodies of water and those two urban areas. And that would be my geographic area. And for me, that's about 35 kilometers to 45 kilometers, depending on how I'm looking at it. Or you may say 30 miles or 25 miles, depending on what country you're in. So you have to determine based on your area. You saw how I calculated mine. You may not have those geographic boundaries called water. I'm hoping if you're a diver, you do. It makes life so much easier. But you may not. A lot of places have dive centers far, far away from bodies of water. But in my case, my area is water to water. That far north, beyond that, they don't drive this far. And from that far south up here, because below that, they tend to go south, not north. So I've defined my geographic region and can advertise on, in this example, Facebook, a particular special to people within that range. Now, a lot of social media, you can say how much, in addition to this size, how much do I want to spend on the campaign and what's my average daily cost? So you can break it down so you can blow your whole budget in 24 hours, or you can have it where it's so much a day for so many days. What a great, effective way to do it. And if you only have, in my terms, again, I'm in Canada, Canadian dollars, 100 Canadian dollars, to spend. Well, you can have that spent over 5 days, 10, $20 a day, or you may say, I want to go $10 a day for more days, or you may say, hey, $50 a day, 2 days, let's call it a wrap. So it's up to you to decide what your budget is and how you think that's going to work out for you. And the key here is you want to absolutely know what's going to work for you. And there becomes the next dilemma. People say, oh, what's going to, and there's no 100%. You're right. There is no 100%. You do the best you can based on calculations. Plan your dive, you dive your plan. Well, plan your marketing, market that plan, and then sit back and see how it worked. Okay. So as you see here, that's that last comment. How do I know that I hit my goal? Well, if my goal is just to sell stuff, that's not a plan. I want to sell and have 20 people buy to come to my pools. Well, if I do a plan and I get 18, that's pretty darn successful. Or 28, wow, I'm happy. If I get 2, clearly it wasn't a good plan. And that doesn't mean you failed. It just means you tried one thing, try the next thing. Sometimes it takes a couple of marketing events to get people to react. An old story, an old phrase that we used in marketing and sales is quite often you don't actually close a deal on the first time you talk to people. Sometimes you do and you're fortunate and you go, whoo-hoo, great. But more often than not, it takes about 5 contacts to get them to actually move. Just because they didn't buy from you doesn't mean they bought from somebody else. They may just not got around to it. Now, if they've been sitting around for 19 or 20 months or 18 months, depending on where you are, going, I want to do something, well, they may jump on it right away, or they may take 2 weeks to go, well, I want to do something. Is this what I want to do? I'm not sure. What about, I haven't really been out anywhere in a while. Would this be safe? So you want to make sure you do things more than once. Don't just do the campaign and measure it once. Say it didn't work. I'm done. Try it again, try it again, try it again. Look, analyze, and adapt that goal and the way you're going to achieve it. Now, to do that, you have to create some pieces that get out, some good marketing pieces. And if you need help with that, I'm always working on something, and I would always work collaboratively with people, but understand when I work on it, I make a generic copy as well that goes to all NAUI members in our marketing resource folder. But you'll get a custom one, and I'm certainly willing to work with people on that for the benefit of all NAUI members as well as yourself. So as we look at standing out from the rest, again, remember unique offerings. Think of creative ways you can get your customers' attention. Now, I read that. Those of you that know me well or reasonably well will realize I don't read the screen. So when I do read the screen, that's an aha moment. Aha! Remember about the unique offerings. We did a seminar on that. We did a great NAUI Talk on it. Unique. You want to be unique. I need to step outside what everybody else is doing and be noticed. Years ago, I could basically put a dive flag in the hallway at the local rec center for the pool. That's where we rent our pools. Put a dive flag, put some brochures and some business cards under it, and I'd get customers, which would be students. Those days are not here anymore. So we got to think a little harder, a little differently. We got to get their attention. There's people out there looking for something to do. And this isn't unique to Canada. This is unique to the globe. And I like to use the word unique, not that it's not unique, it is unique. This is a unique situation globally where people want to get out, get back to some normality, get out, be social, get exercise, and do something. So what can I do? What do I have that these other stores? I got bigger stores that I compete with. I got smaller ones I compete with. I got a big PE I compete with, or a small, or whatever. You may be in a spot. I don't have a lake. I don't have a charter boat. I don't even have a store. I work out of my truck. Okay, that's not my situation, but it might be yours, and that's okay. That's your unique thing. Use it. Don't try to be something you're not. Use what you got. You can pivot very quickly if you're small and change things immediately because there's you and your truck to discuss this. Move forward. Okay, so think of what I have in my personal, I like to call it your marketing tool bag. What's unique in my marketing tool bag that I can use? We have we have a wonderful wonderful collaboration and experience combined with the city that we work with, and we have pools that we can use. Now, we weren't able to use them for quite a while because of COVID. We're back in the pools. Yeah, there's something unique in my tool bag. I have access to competitive swimming, like Olympic sized pools. Okay. Not necessarily Olympic size, but just to give you an idea, I have access to big community pool. There's something in my tool bag. Not everybody's got that. Okay. I have some absolutely wonderful NAUI instructors that work together with me in our group and love to do different things in the pool and are always happy to be engaged. And I call it mission oriented. You've heard me use those terms before. When we get in the pool, we don't just get in the pool and go da 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 da. Oh, there's tiles in the pool. No, we get in the pool with a mission. What's the mission? And their mission could be your unique thing that's in your tool bag that can come together. A, you got pools. B, you've got really enthusiastic people who just want something to do in the pool. And then you can go back and see how this can work for you. We can put something together. That's what makes me, now, you know me as Bill from NAUI Worldwide as the marketing director, but I also part of a small store and scuba club in Barrie, Ontario, Canada called 4D Diving. And in my case, that our strengths is what I just discussed with you. That's exactly what our strengths. We're small. We have lots of great quality instructors. We have an Olympic-sized pool, and we got a lot of gear. We're in good shape. Let's find out what we can do to get out and get moving again in this COVID era. It's not going to be all gone for a long time, but we're past a certain point where we can get back up and get going. So let's look and see how we can create something with value added. I'm not trying to attract somebody come for Discover Scuba. That used to work. You ever want to try scuba? Yeah, that used to work. We need to engage them more than that. And that's what my next talk is going to be about. So I'm not going to give it all away today, but I've got some really cool things that we're going to talk about next time. And they're all stuff that if you have a pool and you have enthusiastic quality instructors like I do and some gear, you can take advantage on all of those. Stay tuned. That's the next one in December. So what's the draw? Okay, we've talked about it. We know what we want them to buy, who's buying, who are competitors that are in the way of that buy, how to find unique things. What is it that we have in our toolbox that nobody else has? Okay. Now you put it together as that draw. You put some advertising pieces together. You put some social media places, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever works in your area. So you're going to put all that together. Okay. It's out there. You know who you're trying to sell it to, you know what you're trying to sell, you know who you're competing with. You've got all that together. Is that the draw? No. The draw is next. You've got to give them a reason to deal with you. Many years ago, when I started studying actually sales and marketing, one of my professors talked about sell the sizzle, not the steak. Now that in itself, and it may not translate to different languages. I apologize if it doesn't. But in English, it works well for me in Canada. It also works well in Quebec, in my Francophone friends that speak French in Quebec. This particular saying can translate out in many languages, but it doesn't matter because you're not sharing it with anybody else. It's just for you to understand. When you're barbecuing, if you like steak, I don't say, hey, you want to come to my house? I got this hot fire. I'm going to cut some raw meat that's all bloody out of an animal, throw it on this hot thing and cook it. You want to come? That's not how you sell the steak. That isn't how you sell the steak. You don't sell the steak. You sell the sizzle. You talk about the barbecue. Hey, I'm heating up the barbecue. I got some nice steaks to sizzle. They're gonna put some barbecue sauce. Oh, I got some nice mesquite wood I'm gonna put in there. So the smell of the wood underneath on the barbecue is gonna be beautiful. You get a nice smell. It's delicious. The flavor of these steaks are so tender they just fall apart. You don't even need a knife. Those are the kind of things you sell. Okay. And I know this may not be in any way applicable to diving, at first glance, but it is. We're not trying to sell necessarily for people to get underwater. We are, but we're not. If you could just advertise you want to learn to dive, I can right out front of your shop or your store, put on the side of your truck, whatever works, in front of your professional education facility, or you as a personal professional educator at your home. You can literally just put a sign in your car out front of where you live or on your dive site, a little pop-up banner saying, learn to dive. And you would not need any of these conversations about NAUI Talks, which are how to make more profitable business. And if that's the case, I'm glad you're in that area because I'm not. We need to sell more than just, hey, learn to dive. I grew up watching Jacques Cousteau and other things, which were like, wow, I want to be a diver someday. And luckily I ended up there. We're now competing with people who are looking for experiences and looking for different venues. They may not want to spend 4 months learning to dive. I started a course that started in January, finished in May, mid-May at that. So it was about 4.5 months. We all know, good luck finding a student who wants to work 4.5 months to become a diver anymore. They're still out there. For some professional education facilities can tie it into a semester courses, and they're so fortunate. The rest of us are competing to get somebody out 10 times, maybe 8 times. Okay, so that's the idea. Is we're not, the draw is not that they're underwater. It is for me. It is for you. We drank the Kool-Aid. We love diving. We love NAUI. We love scuba diving. Wow. But what we need to do is we need to get them out and excited about the adventure or an experience. Come try this. And they come out and try something. Going back to the steak, people may have never had a steak on a barbecue with some mesquite wood chips. And if that's the case, get them to come out and try. Hey, come on out. We're having a sample barbecue. Come on out. We're having a sample dive thing. But what is the sample? That's what you want to draw. That's the uniqueness. That's where we're going to pull them out. And that's the sizzle, not the steak. Describe the event. Come on out Saturday. We're playing underwater basketball. Have you ever thought about underwater basketball? Those that did are going to go, oh, cool. Those that didn't go, no, I haven't. Well, it's exciting. It's fun. It's an adventure. Come out for this one-day adventure. Leave with a t-shirt or whatever. Come and enjoy yourself. Come get that experience. I'm looking for, again, remember we had this narrow discussion today on picking a topic, although this would apply for any topic. You need to have a narrow field of focus for this particular program and then continue with other programs. For instance, we're looking for somebody who's been 18 months or so sitting at home wishing to heck they could get out and do something. I want them to come by pool experience. I want them to come to a pool. I want them to come to a pool. They want to get out and do something. Great. Let's give them a reason to get out and do something. Let's make it exciting. Let's make it an adventure. Wow. And I picked basketball, but it could be anything. It's not just a try scuba. Pick a theme. For those of you that heard my one first aid discussion, was talking about first aid, teaching first aid. And I love teaching first aid, by the way. Big fan of Dan, big fan of first aid, really like to teach it. Pre-COVID, it's been a little bit different since, as we all know, but pre-COVID, what I did to draw people out is I live in an area, we have some wonderful restaurants from many different cultural backgrounds. So I did a lot of courses that I featured a meal. For instance, first aid in Mexico. There's a wonderful Mexican restaurant a couple blocks from my shop. Another time, first aid in Thailand. And we had some food from literally a block away, wonderful Thailand restaurant. And we had the food catered in. I divided up per person. This isn't about first aid, but this is about creating that uniqueness. I'm not selling first aid. I'm selling them an experience. Because if work tells you you have to go do your first aid, you do it. Probably reluctantly, but maybe not. But if I can make it exciting, my first aid class is filled because people say, ooh, I want to go to the Thai one. There's only 10 spaces. Ooh, I want to go to the Italian one. There's only 10 spaces or whatever. So people sign up because when those 10 spots are full, they're full. You have to pick a different one. And what I do is we have food partway through the course. I have somebody lay it all out and make it all nice, and everybody has some wonderful food that's culturally based, and go from there. And I do different countries. I just used a couple examples, right? Because where I live, we're fortunate we have many choices. So if you think of that food example, go back and talk about it. Discover scuba. Come try scuba. Come try scuba. Well, basketball. Let's go out play underwater basketball. What's underwater basketball other than if the guy's a certified diver, it's a refresher where we play basketball. If the lady is not certified, she's always wanted to just do something here. It's really called the Discover Scuba, where we play basketball. Discover Scuba basketball, refresher basketball. Doesn't sound near as exciting as I go Discover. Well, that's less exciting. Basketball, refresher. The words independently are less exciting. Put them together, they're a little more exciting, but put it together as a plan and advertise it to people, because I want people to come to my pool. That was my defined to buy. So by doing that, I say, wow, come play underwater basketball. There's a draw. Just like the first aid and the meals. So assuming I put this plan together, or I thought this things out, I've got this all together. Now what? Have things ready. Be ready. There's one of my pet peeves in sales and marketing is that people come up with some great ideas, but they don't follow through. There's so many sales that are made that don't actually get made because you didn't follow through. Be ready. And that probably sounds as obvious could possibly be, but it's not obvious. Be ready. Be ready to act. So when they call you, answer the phone. They email you, email them back. They come up to you in a parking lot because you see something on the side of your truck, or they come up to your place of business. Be ready. Have something ready to hand them. Literally, here you go. Here's information on it. There you go. And be ready to talk and engage. Close the deal. Great. When would you like to come? Super duper. Here. A lot of us have these wonderful abilities now to pay digitally. Most countries. I can, no problem. Let me get you signed up right here. And they pay right off my phone. I can have them sign up and pay, or off their own phone. Go to this website, select basketball underwater, and you're in, man. We can do that this Friday. Close the deal. Give that person that attention. How many of us have been to stores where I go all the way across town, drive, walk, bike ride, whatever it happens to be, get out of my mode of transportation, get into their store, walk up, go up to the counter to ask somebody for something, and it's just somebody's on their phone, they're texting you, or their business phone rings and they answer their business phone. I got news for you. That's just rude. That means for me to travel across town was not as important as for the person who just on a whim decided to phone. That's rude. Give the customer the attention they need. And I know that is tough. You don't want to miss the phone call, because I just said answer the phone, answer email, and talk to the person. You go, one person. Yeah, good luck with that. If you find the mix, you could do the NAUI Talk on that, because it's tough. But give people the attention. Once you're engaged with a person, stay engaged until you're done. Then move to the next one. Okay? That's tough. And if it's a service or some kind of adventure or experience or any of that, have something tangible. Again, as a NAUI instructor, we all learned there's different ways people learn. Some people are tactile. They need to hold something. Some people are visual. They need a demonstration. You know where I'm going with that. So have something physical that you can give them. That coupon, a package, a one page, something that you can literally hand them right now. Give them something to hold with the information. And if they're purchasing, give them the coupon right there. Give them a coupon right on the spot. Give them something right in their hand. So there's your information. There's the coupon. Give them something to hold. If nothing else, they go home, they put it on the counter, and somebody else might go, or they go to their office and they put it on their desk, and somebody goes, wow, underwater basketball. I've never heard of such craziness. And the person goes, well, yeah, I just signed up for this and this. It's actually a gift for my son, blah, 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 blah. And they go, oh my gosh, my daughter would love it too. Matter of fact, our whole family of 4 could go. So you may end up with 5 sales, not one, just because you had the information ready to give them. Same as if it's a product. You say you want to sell a mass snorkel. We'll have some mass snorkel kits ready to go, ready in a box, ready in a bag, gift wrapped. It's Christmas time in many regions around the world. So have it ready to go. But here's the secret. The last one. I'm going to read it. There's a clue. Include a reason to follow up. Coupons, continuing education. Could be a mask, masks 50% off, or half price snorkel. Buy a mask, get a snorkel. Something. Give them a reason to come back. You have worked so hard. We've been talking now for more than 35 minutes on how you could get them just to come to your place of business, be it virtually or physically. And it's going to take a lot longer to do than it does to talk about it. So don't waste it. Give them a reason to come back. Give them a reason to come back. Include it in that package you have ready. How do you know what? Well, one of the other NAUI talks, we discussed about that. And one of the guys is, you want to increase your bottom line, go to that one. It's like, look around your shop. Look around your garage. Look around your truck. What's sitting there? Wow, I got 10 NES packages I haven't sold. Well, make that the special. Get them sold. I have way too many yellow snorkels and just enough of the other colors. Well, make the yellow snorkel. Buy a yellow snorkel and get half price off a mask. I don't know. That would be a crazy sale, but whatever, find a reason for them to come back. Once they come once and they buy and they come again and they buy, there's a word we use for that. It's called a customer. We need that. So let's look at a call to action. You know me, I like to say, let's follow it up. Got to do something. There's nothing worse than you hear some wonderful information and then you do nothing about it. So let's do something today. Look and see, what do you want to accomplish? What is it I want my to buy to be? Do I want it to be courses or members or equipment or an adventure? What is it I want my to buy to be? Pick 3 or 4 of them, not one. Always pick. Remember our mini 3 marketing plan, right? Pick my favorites 3. Pick 3 different things that you want to move on. Great. And then fill a little bit specifics, a little extra information on each one. Go, here's an idea. I want people to come out to the pool. That's one. It could be 3. You could have 3 different ideas based on it, but that was one. Specific. Let's come up with some fun ideas like basketball. Okay. And then next week, between now and then, one of your 3 ideas, work hard to get it out there. Get that idea real. Make it real. Make it something that you're advertising, promoting, putting on social media, putting out in local venues, whether it be at the local dive site, local pool, local grocery store, whatever. Get that information to people. Again, back to my mini 3 marketing. Hand that information that you had. It should never be more than 1 page. Hand it out to 3 people 3 times a day. What does that mean? It means I gave out 9. So 3 people, I gave 3 of them to. If I do that, you see, 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 7 is, oh, that starts to add up. Get the numbers out there, right? That's next week. Have 1 running. And once a month, take a fresh look and say, is this working? Because, there's 4 weeks in a month, not 3. So you used your 3 ideas. So you had 1 week to think, get going. Idea 1, idea 2, idea 3. What's next month? And then before you know it, you'll have a marketing plan, not a marketing item. So what we learned today was just a way to get people to come and say, hey, I choose you. I want to buy from you. And what makes them want to buy from us is that uniqueness. What makes us stand out? That draw that we talked about. Because we're in business. Whether you're a professional educator, a facility, an independent instructor, we need to sell courses. We need to sell gear sometimes. We need to sell charter spots sometimes. But if we're not selling, we're not in business, and you won't be here. So think about that. Put your plan in place. Remember, if you want to hear this again, I record all of the NAUI talks. I edit them and I put them up on NAUI TV, which is on YouTube. So go and watch those and go. I'm going to come back to questions, but I want to put a little sizzle. Next session, December the 14th, is outside the box. And it is a session full of crazy outside of the box ideas that could work for you. Every single one is a way you can actually get people to buy. I've worked very hard on these. I've got 10 different things. I'm sure we won't get through all of them in the hour, but I have a couple extra just in case. And we're going to go, here's an idea. And here's what, the W5, right? Who, what, where, when, why, and how. We're going to get that on each of these products, each of these ideas, ways you can get people to engage with you. Choose you. That's what next session's about. So I don't see any questions that are outstanding. So if anybody has any questions, this is a great time. If not, I'm going to sign off and thank you once again for the privilege of being able to speak to you on the NAUI Talk series. Have a great day. And until next time, keep learning. We're all going to win together. Bye now.